Good afternoon. This week's research has narrowed my focus even tighter into the 10 crucial days of the American Revolution, known as the Battles of Trenton and the Battles of Princeton. The following three articles that you'll see with my attachment contain information that are important to the period from 24 December 1776 through 3 January of 1777. Battle of Trenton was on 25 December 1776. The Second Princeton Campaign, also known as the Second Battle of Trenton by William S. Stryker, followed on the 29th of December through the 3rd of January. The source documents that I used for primary sources were Borth, Dornemann, and Schwam, which is basically a prisoner list from the Battle of Trenton, first and second, or the campaign at Princeton, and lists out all of those that were taken prisoner during that time. The second narrative will be on the geological survey conducted by Clifton Smith, which demonstrates those German-speaking soldiers that stayed in Canada and the United States after the war. Now, these lists are useful to go ahead and cross-reference against who wound up where, who was a casualty, who was a prisoner, who returned, and who remained, which will be important to the overall narrative in the monograph. In addition to this, I can contrast that against William S. Stryker's narrative and the various letters of correspondence that fall into the second part of his work, which Stryker's work serves as both a secondary source for the first half of the manuscript and then a primary source for the second half, because it lists out a sequence of correspondence that's very important to the overall narrative. So you start to cross-reference various characters. Now, in the arguments, this allows me to go ahead and break down whether my arguments are structural or conceptual. Various historians in the historiography of the subject have taken rather conceptual approaches to their arguments, adopted certain parts of other people's narratives that weren't necessarily factual. I'm looking really for the fundamental questions, the structural parts of the argument that we can find foundations in. So in this, I'll compare and contrast the lists, the genealogical surveys, against various regimental journals, as well as rosters and muster lists and things of that nature. In addition, I've rounded that out with work by Faulkner on the spies. This is part of the historiography of particularly the First Battle of Trenton. And then Krebs, who focused his work primarily on on prisoners, excuse me. And he does a very comprehensive approach. So basically, I'm adopting Leopold von Ranke's methodology of seeking truth into the overall narrative. As a side note, you'll find that much of my notes that are contained in the typed part of this is what is taken directly from my 3x5 cards that I use as my system of note-taking. It includes the Chicago style of citation and a rating system that I use to add value to the source and the information, as well as a page reference back into my dissertation as to where I intend to use each one of the individual notes and where I might find it supportive of that. I hope this generates some good discussion on my methodology and how to assemble the historiographical surveys on your subject. Thank you.